on set. Camera rolling. Oh, I mean sound. Satellite or whatever it's called.
Community to me, personally, means life.
Just people that I can communicate with and that I can trust.
It basically made me who I am today. It forms places where I can go, where I can feel safe.
Three communities I belong to are my school, my friends, and my family.
My house and BAYCAT.
I guess one thing about the Pokemon community to me that makes me happy is just seeing people together as a whole, where most of the time when you play a game you're probably alone, but Pokemon mostly encourages you to meet other people and go outside.
One thing I'd like to change in my community is violence, so everyone can get along.
I'd like to see my community expand more and just have more people welcome to join.
I would want to see more involvement and people being closer to one another. So to promote that, I could have myself or my family be welcoming and just try to initiate relationships with others.
The Mission District is a historically Latino and community of color district. The average income for a Latino family in the Mission District with children is about $47,000. If they have children under 18, it goes down to about $44,000. And so looking at a historic population that was making around that much money, looking at the Mission District now, things have started to drastically change since new developments have been coming in.
There's not enough housing opportunities for people that have multiple members, like that they have children. A lot of the landlords want to rent to younger people that perhaps are willing to move into a tiny studio, pay thousands of dollars. Maybe they have a really comfortable tech job, and you know, when they're choosing candidates, maybe they'll choose the individual with more money than a family that has low to moderate income, and it's really sad to see.
I think that the Mission District has changed really dramatically. I think every day on my walk to work, I notice different stores opening, different restaurants opening. I mean, I think that some of my favorite things about the Mission District are the same. The murals, you know, the fact that there's so much public art, the fact that there's always so many people walking around. It's always been really vibrant, and that hasn't changed, which is wonderful.
Okay, I've noticed that by where I used to live, there was this place that I used to always go to. A few years went by and then they moved. They couldn't afford it anymore. It was a really huge impact when I learned about that because they were like family to me.
And as people move further away, if their rent gets increased, you know, some of that community connection, which is often also like the connections that businesses are based off of, are lost.
To me, what that means is creating an equitability. If you're going to come in and put a new development or create a new building, that's fine, because there is a housing crisis and we do need more housing. But what we need is equitable housing. And so you can't just create housing for people making $122,000 plus. You need to be considered the community that you're building in and create sufficient housing for people that are making the $44,000 to the $47,000 to ensure that even though you're bringing in new residents, you're creating enough housing for the residents that already exist for them to continue to remain here and continue to be part of the community and not force them to leave at the expense of people who make more money.
A place where they can have small businesses that are run by their families, and for them to be able to actually know who their neighbors are.
And so what you're realizing is just a lot of the historic Latino families are leaving the Mission, as well as a lot of the culture that made this place so unique and so special.
Mexican cultures, Hispanic cultures that are here, and we can help bring the culture back.
Once upon a time, there was a young girl. She was an orphan who always frowned because she always got bullied by the girls in her village for being different. She had horns on her head and wings on her back, something the village didn't consider normal. One day, however, she followed a wonderful sound into the woods. There she met a boy who had fox ears, elf ears, and a tail. She was so shocked to see someone who was different like her. The boy decided to take her to his village, where everyone was unique in their own way. As they moved to the center of the village, they met the leader, who was an old and wise man. The leader saw the girl's necklace and was shocked. He then led her to a house with the same symbol as her necklace. The door opened and out came two people who looked very familiar to her. Once the girl realized that that was her family, she cried and smiled for the first time because she now had found a place to call home. The end.
You see people now from even the age of 3 to the age of 93 using technology and all these different platforms, from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram. You're seeing a lot of different people engage on these different platforms, and I think it's strengthening communities.
If we think about how we try to access knowledge and information now in 2017 versus 10 years ago, 2007, and 10 years before that, it was very different. You know, when I was coming up, when I was your age, you'd turn on the TV and you went to the local news station. And maybe if you had cable, you could look at CNN. And maybe if you were lucky, they would be talking about what's happening in a region or what you were interested in seeking out. And now, literally, we've all got computers in our pockets and we can know about anything.
I use social media as soon as I wake up in the morning. It's a really quick, convenient way for me to check into all these different things in my life and make sure everyone's doing well and that I'm doing well, and I can move forward with my day.
Technology is playing a more and more important role as the world becomes closer and this spread of information is more and more accelerated.
I've been working at NGOs probably 10 years, and I have never met a more passionate group of people, more dedicated, passionate group of people than I do at Meta. And people are from the community, people speak the languages. I remember when I worked at other places, you know, people come in and we don't speak the language, but Meta, we know the community and we're representative of the community.
We're looking at all these kind of social media tools, like these video platforms. You can learn some of these skills from community members who are around the globe, which I think is just incredibly fascinating.
Technology helps me connect with my family during tragedies and hard times. It allows me to send a quick text message or even leave a voicemail message to let someone know that I'm checking in.
You know, I think a lot of the tools that we make are in response to, you know, things that we see the community needing. So again, if we take a case in point, the fires to the north that are still happening. Safety Check is something that the company released recently in the last year or two, which allows people to check in and mark themselves safe. That's a powerful thought. Which didn't exist until recently. Prior to that, you had to call hospitals and you had to call local organizations and see if your family members and friends were, you know, really doing okay. And now you can ping a social network and say, hey, are you okay? If so, please check yourself in as safe. That's a powerful notion for a community.
And you see through Facebook, you can do Facebook Live, you can see actually what's going down on Ground Zero. I feel that allows us to actually put into context a lot of things that are going on that usually wouldn't be seen by us.
Recently, there was a hurricane that passed through the Caribbean called Hurricane Maria, and I think that was a very important time for me to be able to access technology, especially the WhatsApp. That's my favorite. It was super crucial during that time. So this hurricane had passed through my mom's country, and there was no electricity, you know, running water. There still actually isn't, and it's been about 2.5 weeks. We were scrambling to try to figure out, is there a phone line? How do we check in with our family? How do we know that everyone's okay when there's no electricity or running water? But luckily, in a time where we all have cell phones and we have this app called WhatsApp, I was able to text my aunt and have her respond within 72 hours to let us know that everybody was okay. So WhatsApp was super crucial for my family during that time. It helped us to make sure that not only our family members were safe, but they were alive.
We're letting people and communities rally around each other and help each other out, which you know, this is what I get out of bed in the morning for, to tell the world about these things that we're doing. And again, I don't know that we always get it right, but I think the intention is good, and I think we're getting better and better at delivering some of these tools.
And it allows us to, I don't know, not just our community, but allows us to reach a wider community as well. I think that's very, very important.
I think what we can do better at is not just leaving it on social media, but going out into the world, and when we have these conversations, speak to people. You know, let's just not leave this conversation online. What are we doing in the real world with the connections we're making online?
Just being a part of a community and interacting with community, and I just think like community has a lot of positives with you, because it forms your identity, it forms who you identify with.
Intersectionality. Intersectionality is a simple word that has a complex definition.
Because I made her emotional and she started crying.
Listen.
Intersectionality.
All people belong to more than one community. Even if it's just your school community and your family community, that counts. What? Yes. Intersectionality is an old word. It goes back generations. Yet just recently has this definition come out of it. What we believe to be the definition of this complicated word is more than one community intersecting within people. In this film, we strive to help you understand what this word means.
Some difficulties that come up with, I guess, identifying with certain communities is that you can feel that they're, being misrepresented.
Sometimes people don't always feel like welcomed or like included in part of their communities.
I guess there's many challenges to being someone who identifies as a woman, being a queer person, being a Black queer person, and all of those multitudes, layers of repression constantly on me in the classroom, outside the classroom, if I'm shooting. And I'm clearly super queer, super Black, right? Super woman, and there's always this sometimes disconnect when I'm shooting with folks who are not necessarily of color, or folks who aren't necessarily queer and trans people of color. So sometimes when I'm around like a lot of big industry folks, I'm like, oh, what if, am I standing out right now? Or am I being too much of myself right now?
Some challenges that I face are working with young people within a system that is very westernized, meaning that the system is very much working within the confines of like white thinking and European thinking, as opposed to traditional modes of healing. I don't look at people as complete individuals. Like, I look at people as individuals, but I realize that they're a part of a family, of a community, of a culture.
I wasn't always connected to my ancestral community, nor was I always connected to my indigenous spiritual community. When I was y'all's age, when I was in high school, I was like really deep into drugs and alcohol. It led me to a rehab process. And then in rehab, when I was 17, is when I started connecting with my spirituality. And I realized that drugs and alcohol were really trying to fulfill something that was empty within me. A profound suffering that I went through for most of my life, searching for something that I didn't know what it was. And then when I found it as community, like it was community that I was looking for, it was belonging to somewhere and some place and some people.
You know, some people might not even like identify with certain communities that they actually are a part of, right? And just the main fact that they don't feel safe, that they can identify with some communities. So I feel like that might be a problem.
I identify with the Hispanic or like Latino community, and so when you think of like a Latino person, you don't think of like a businessman or businesswoman. You think of probably somebody who's like gardening your plants or like cleaning your house or something. And so we're kind of treated not as slaves, but like, you know, like kind of like second class. Like we're not good enough to be as much as like a white person could be.
Of course, where I go and why and how I go and how I show up, all of that is community.
Being a San Franciscan, being a Nicaragüense person, a Spanish-speaking Nicaragüense person, being part of like the hip-hop community of like my day, so old school hip-hop, all of that comes into my identity.
My parents like trying to encourage me, and my friends, like I asked them like for a Bible, like to like which way, and like, you know, they help me in like in a lot of situations I'm in.
I mean, community is about love, you know, it's about collective love for each other and for ourselves. And when we come together, love has to be unconditional, right? Love isn't just like, I love you based on you do this cool thing that I'm gonna support. It's, I love you just the way you are. You know, that's what builds community, and that allows us to show up when stuff is going down, and show up when we need to celebrate together. And all of it, you know, life is complex.
Community is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. They have a feeling of camaraderie with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. It's human nature to always want to belong, just like the need for food and shelter, the need for water and air. One needs not to be alone. You were born into your first community, where you first experience the world, where you learn to love, to hate, to laugh, to cry. Slowly you're molded into your own person. You grow your wings, you spread them wide, you find yourself yearning for a way to connect with others outside your first set of communities. These are communities that want to educate, heal, and promote harmony. Communities with goals to spread goodwill and hope. Reality is, not all communities are good. Groups like terrorists, racists, and gangs, they are technically considered communities that still provide a sense of belonging to some. These are communities that spread hate, not love. Communities that inflict pain and does not heal. So parents, as your child's first community, lead by example and treat others with kindness. Teach your children to celebrate others with patience, tolerance, and love. Provide them a safe environment and a loving home, where they can grow to be good members of society. And not only form, but seek to belong to communities that don't just give fulfillment, strength, and connection to its members, but also to the entire human race. A good community begins with family.
Brutality, why is it even happening? It makes the world so damn angry that they treat the people like they don't mean anything. No, it's not fair for the people trying to make wrong right, and they're steady voting for a president that don't even respect our rights. Police shooting up for no reason, men everywhere feeling threatened, kids going out knowing they gon' die. We got ourselves, man, let's try plan. We've gotta fight, yeah, find a way, yeah, 'cause we lost our path to try to make everything okay. But we've gotta fight, yeah, find a way, yeah, 'cause we lost our path to try to make everything okay.
Every world got its heroes and villains. Civilians turn to victims of killings. See the dark side of the moon. Hey, teachers leave them kids alone. Put another brick up in the wall. Gotta focus on breaking down barriers. Everybody get a holiday. I say the more than the merrier. Maybe start to love yourself. Maybe start to take a look in the mirror and realize you are not what you have felt. Maybe start to question health. Maybe it's Maybelline. You should stop burning their bodies because they will sell. Learn to love each other. Only thing that stops you is learning how to love yourself. Everybody used to blame. We're used to losing our names. Shackled up back in the day, but now we're who gon' preach the change.
Fight, yeah, find a way, yeah, 'cause we lost our path to try to make everything okay. We try to find a way, yeah, we try to find a way. My people ain't together and things just ain't the same. Unity is what we need, it's not just you, it's also me. Every rainbow needs rain, we fighting through the pain.
Help my people make a hit, help my people out the ditch, help my people out the struggle. There's no time for rebuttals, gotta get up on our feet, gotta help my people eat. Gotta go only for family, edit my craft like it's Grammarly. Pain you see, poverty, poverty, poverty. Get money in the hood prophecy. They call our people for no reason, but my strength, yeah, there's no stopping me. No role models like it's J. Cole, we need heroes with no cape on. Negativity is taped on, now we act like there is no hope.
We've gotta fight, yeah, find a way, yeah, 'cause we lost our path to try to make everything okay. But we've gotta fight, yeah, find a way, yeah, 'cause we lost our path to try to make everything okay. I hope the world will come together as one, but it will take you and me and everyone. Come on, show who you really are. Let's find a way to bring it together.
Every day gotta worry when the sunset, 'cause if I'm home too late, I'm in the darkness. The guns come out, kids get down. Mom gotta bury her son now. Friends killing over a bankroll. Girls left and right getting exposed. Boys aiming guns and not they goals. Something gotta change in this world. Why don't we come together, unite, fight for education and black lives? Be the change we wish to see. Take a couple notes from Gandhi. Let's spread the love, suppress the hate. Staying in the 60s is getting lame. It's 2017, let's make a change. Get better, make an upgrade.
We've gotta fight, yeah, find a way, yeah, 'cause we lost our path to try to make everything okay. It takes more than one and more than two. Believe in me and believe in you. More than one and more than two. Believe in me
and believe in you.